the agenda.
Welcome back. We are now in our final segment of today's mid morning show, and I've so enjoyed being enlightened, educated, and inspired by all my guests and even young activists and old activists. And now we have another activist and a consumer activist, a very, very seasoned uh, consumer activist. I feel so proud when I hear the very, very all the different campaigns, brother. My next guest, brother Imraahn Mukaddam, had been involved. Everything from bread pricing, collusion to get our maybe Hajj and Umrah operators accountable to ethical buying, ethical spending, and then also part of brother Imran wears many hats, but part of his involvement is with the apartheid free zone coalition, and they've said let's make halal an apartheid free zone, and this is the media statement from the apartheid free zone coalition, and this is a call for rescinding halal certification to all businesses that are selling products or who have any links to Israeli businesses and institutions in order to make halal an apartheid free zone. Assalamu alaikum and welcome, Brother Imran, to Mid Morning Talk on Salam Media.
Walaikum salam, and to the listeners of Salam Media as well.
So tell me, yes, I spoke about this in my introduction that halal, to eat correctly, has two components. One has the technical aspect of halal, that's something being slaughtered in the correct way, processed in the correct way, away from contamination. But there's another bigger picture in our Islamic way of life, and that is halal and tayyib, and the tayyib part of it, the wholesome goodness part of what we consume, and that also has a moral and ethical connotation into tayyib. And I think that's based on that is what now the coalition is making the call for apartheid free or halal free products.
Yeah, exactly. The process that we embarking upon is to focus on the tayyib part of the halal industry, for lack of a better word. So the focus is on ensuring that the products that we consume are certified halal also meet ethical standards, also meet humanitarian standards, and also, as we say, is free of contamination from the apartheid Zionist entity in Israel, and that the products are not contributing to the further suffering and disposition of the people of Palestine. So we're making this direct link and saying that as Muslims we consume halal, but we are conscious of our obligation to our Muslim brothers internationally, and we cannot be contributory to their suffering. And there's a different link between Israeli-linked businesses, Israeli products, Israeli-linked products and companies, and the occupation in Palestine. So we're saying to our halal certifiers and ICSA, NIHD, and the Muslim Judicial Council that it's about time that you guys put ethical considerations into the halal requirements as well, and also take into account that you are serving a constituency that has a concern with regards to how Muslims are being treated internationally, and that you have an obligation to ensure that that Muslim sentiment is respected in this regard.
Absolutely. I'm with you on this 100% in terms of, because what happens is, for me, when I look at a product and I see it's certified halal, it gives me a sense of comfort, and it gives me a sense that, you know what, I can eat this and I've made a proper choice in terms of my way of life and that. And then probably I put it upon that organization to have seen that all the checks and balances have been in place. But then, as you've said, this may be a business that has established links or well-known links to Israeli counterparts in Israel, its support of settlement organizations, funding Zionist lobby groups and things like this. And then you see this halal stamp on it. And for me, you know what? If that happens, it just angers. It will anger you as a Muslim person.
Yes, Muslim is me, and the sentiment is one of joint suffering. So we cannot, as a ummah, if the fingers or the whole body aches, that is the prophetic tradition. So when Palestine is bleeding, how can we be contributory to? And more importantly, how can organizations that we regard with high esteem make a profit from these companies? They're actually being paid for this halal certification, so they are using that money is contaminating all the other halal money with the blood of our Palestinian brothers and sisters. So we are asking them with a moral, they have a moral obligation and with a conscience, an Islamic conscience, that not to take money from Israeli companies or companies with Israeli links that can be directly attributed to the conditions of our brothers and sisters in Palestine. And we're asking them the very legitimate question is, how can we certify companies that is on the BDS boycott list as halal, and also take a certificate fee from them? You know, we're asking this question: what are you doing with that money? Because it's not pure as far as we're concerned.
Absolutely. And we all know that the halal industry is a $1 million industry, $1 billion internationally as well. Halal certification, a huge industry in itself in terms of revenue generated there. How has this been received? So, how has your media statement been received by the various certifying bodies in South Africa? Have you had engagements with them?
Up to now, we haven't had any response from them. We have certainly sent it to all of them. We are waiting responses. We've been well received within the Muslim public, within Muslim media as well. The campaign is gaining a lot of traction. A lot of people are endorsing, and organizations even are endorsing the sentiments that we express in our media statement. So there's overall within the Muslim community a broad support. We are still waiting for the different certifiers to clarify their positions on this campaign. But we will be stepping up the pressure. We are engaging with pressure groups in Gauteng as well as in Cape Town, and one of the aspects that we're looking at is pickets outside of the headquarters of specifically the MGC, and then in Gauteng looking at SANA as well,
Okay,
to raise
so
awareness around these campaigns.
yes, because I'm sure you've got support from the public. I mean, I read it. I was fully supportive of this, and I think anybody who uh, understands the conflict and understands the difficulty and just what's been happening there and how the brutality of the occupation on all levels will 100% be in support of this. So we tried to raise Sana. They had no comment fast at this time. We raised it. We got somebody from Night, but he was not aware. According to him, he was not aware of your statement. We forwarded him statement. He said he couldn't come on air in his personal capacity until he speaks with the board. MJC, we couldn't get hold of. So I was hoping I could get one of the role players directly to engage with you here on air. But as I've said, we've also struggled to get somebody from any of the organizations to come on air just to give them a right of response, and also from their perspective, because understandably it's going to be a process. It's not something that will, even if a decision takes they take a decision now, it's a process to then rescind certification. It can take, I don't know how long it takes to rescind certification and that. But yes, there was nobody forthcoming as yet. Are you
Well,
going to send emails to before pickets and then directly engage with any of the halal certifying bodies?
well, it's still early days, so we are still busy building the coalition. So yes, all that we sent out thus far was that media statement.
Mm-hmm.
But we are working with our partner organizations, and we're looking at building the coalition as well. And once we've got a significant stakeholders on board, we will engage directly. We'll probably ask for direct meetings with all of these certifiers and engage them, one to one, and make the demand, not the request, but the demand that they no longer certify Israeli products or Israeli companies as halal as part of the broader BDS campaign, but also as a moral obligation towards the Muslim community, not only in South Africa but internationally, because a lot of South African products are sold internationally as well. So we have this process, like you said, it is a process. It's something that we have only engaged. We sort of met last week, and it was an issue that emanated from the NJC election process, and there were some concerns with regards to the candidates and so on.
Yes,
And a few of brothers got together, and a few of our brothers got together and said that it's not only the candidates that's the problem. It's not only the lack of transparency and accountability that's the problem. The most serious problem that we do have is the actual certification of Israeli companies or companies with Israeli links as halal, and we need to raise this issue with these certifiers and start putting them, asking them to put their money where their mouth is. If you look at the Muslim Judicial Council, and they had a call 2 weeks ago for a mass march in Cape Town for Palestine, and they were able to raise maybe something between 5,000 and 10,000 people came to that march. So we are saying it's hypocritical for you to call the people onto the streets to march for Palestine, but at the same time you're taking revenue from Israeli-linked companies. And these are the type of debates we're having right now.
And I think they're healthy, Brother Imran. They're healthy debates. And I think, and probably it's oversight, and it's important that we have these discussions, and it's important that we drive these narratives and agendas, because yes, it needs to be a holistic sanction and boycott campaign. So I'm so pleased that it was thought of, and it's raised, and it's out there now for comment and for conversations together around this issue.
And that's what we're about, is to raise awareness. Even if we cannot convince the certifiers to withdraw certification, at least in the process we are engaging the Muslim community that despite halal certification, we can still say this product is unacceptable for us to consume because it has direct implications, and it's empowering the oppression of our brothers in Palestine. So it's a kind of universal empathy that we're encouraging as well, and it's part of, as you said, it's important debate that Muslims become conscious about what they consume and how they consume it, and not just basically allow a franchise label on a product to give you carte blanche that this product is in fact 100% halal, because even the ethical questions around animal rights and the slaughtering processes and all of these, and the contributory factors to climate change, and that's a much broader debate.
Yes, but and brother, we just need to wrap up now. I'm running out of time.
I'm sorry that I'm bringing it now into
that. No, I'm saying it's a whole. No, it's very important, and as you're saying this, I'd like to raise you on another day, and we can, just because I also strongly believe in this whole concept of tayyib, and with besides this ethical thing in terms of BDS campaign and certification, but there's a lot more to certification than just the technical slaughtering of an animal. So I'd like to raise you again, inshallah, and we can talk more in depth about this, because I think it's important discussions we should have in terms of how.
And it is a area that we need to educate our Muslim consumers around, so that we can become more ethical consumers.
Shukran, Brother Imran, for your time, and we will raise you again. Go well, and inshallah, we wish you success with this particular campaign. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
And that is a wrap for Mid Morning Talk on Monday with me, your host, Maria Mia. Until next